Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 525 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. Happy New Year! It feels like it was ages ago that we did our best of 2024, but this is the first video of the new year, and I can't believe that I've waited, 19 days. Well, there have been a few reasons, actually. I tried to do some videos last weekend, but I couldn't quite get round to it. But anyway, here we are. I hope you have all been well. I hope that the sights and the sounds are coming through loud and clear. We need to start in the usual way, as tradition dictates, by seeing who's got the first comment, and it goes to Alex, who says hello and a belated Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to you as well, Alex. And then Alex goes on to say, something new from Etat Libre D'Orange, how exciting. Well, it's not brand new from them, it's kind of new to me, but it was from last year, so we can probably still count it as new. Oriana says hello from rainy Portugal. Perfumed by the Sea says hello from dull and grey Pool in Dorset, wearing Paradis Nuit from Bastille, which makes me think of some warmer days. They are on their way. Happy Year of the Snake, says Jeff. I don't think I'd realised it was the Year of the Snake. Hello everyone, happy to have you back, Mr. P, says Ula. It is really, really great to be back, even though I kind of forgot how the setup works, and I thought, oh, because regular viewers will remember that I kind of changed my setup towards the end of December, but I think I only did one video in the new setup, and so I sort of had to quickly relearn everything in the last hour or so. So hopefully it's all working. Thomas is here as well, so is Frag Chaitan, so is Ileana and Joseph and Tripti and Eric and VW. Lots and lots of familiar names and familiar avatars, so it's good to see you all here. However, I should say, as it's a new year, and I seem to have sort of fallen into the tradition of doing this for the first video of each new year as well. Just to explain to people who might be tuning in for the first time what this channel is all about. I am a perfume writer, a freelance perfume journalist, perfume critic, whatever you want to call me. I suppose back in the day I would have been called a perfume blogger, and by virtue of the fact that I'm doing this and talking to you on YouTube, I suppose I should also call myself a perfume vlogger. And anyway, this is the channel, the medium through which I review new perfumes and sometimes not so new perfumes, and we do top 10 lists according to various themes, and we look at new releases, and we also do interviews. Fingers crossed I should be able to bring you the first interview of the year in just over 2 weeks' time. Again, referring to regular viewers, those of you who are regular viewers will know that the reason that this series is called Love at First Scent is that when it started, I used to give you initial impressions of perfumes, literally just that, smell them for the first time, sometimes unseal the boxes, unwrap the boxes for the first time in front of you and give you an initial impression, and then the sort of more involved thoughts, the more reflective thoughts, the more considered thoughts would then go into a sort of prose entry over on Persolaise.com. I guess things have shifted over the years, as they do, and now one thing that we do as well is that I have what pre-sprayed blotters, which for various reasons we also started calling pre-dipped mermaids, and that has stuck, even though I don't think particularly it should have stuck anyway. So we also talk about the dry down, how the scent has developed, etc, etc, etc. If you've never been here before, it doesn't matter. It will become very, very clear very, very quickly. But what I always say as well is, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. Click on the little bell so that you get notifications about new videos. If you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. And the Substack. The Substack is now a year old. It marked its first anniversary a few weeks ago, and a lot of the long form perfume writing is now over on the Substack, so if you would like to take a bit of a closer look at that, you will also find a link to the Substack over in the video description below. Phew! The first comment I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye there is Ileana saying, we love mermaids, they are cute. The other thing I should say as well is that all comments are welcome, all questions are welcome, regardless of whether they come during the live or during the recording. Well, I say all, as long as they're not offensive. if they're really offensive, then they tend to be stopped by the YouTube bots, and they kind of disappear into the ether anyway. Aria, okay, says, excited to learn about the new Etat Libre D'Orange, one of my favourite brands 10 to 15 years ago, but their later years' output has been so disappointing, hoping they return to the creative stuff. Annie says, first time here, hello from Belfast. Total joy to discover you. I do love the knowledge, fluency and presenting style. I wish I could get your book. I know the book is long out of print. I'm so sorry, Annie. And that is completely out of my hands. Okay, enough rabbiting. There is also a lot of rabbiting on, and a lot of tangents, and a lot of comments about films and various American pop stars, and so on and so forth. The plan for today is to do 2 videos back to back, one sort of longish one where I would like, if we can, to go through 6 releases, and then we will take a 2-minute break and let YouTube do its thing with the video and come back with a showcase of a brand that, again, is new to me, but I think has been around for about a year or so. Alex says, I'm starting this new season of Love at First Scent. Oh, I love the fact that we're calling it a season. That's good. With Chamade. It's all going to be downhill after that. You do realise that if you're starting with Chamade. Right. I think we should start with the new one from Etat Libre D'Orange. I don't have a full bottle, but if you would like to find out what the bottle looks like, I'm sure if you do an online search, you should be able to see it. Etat Libre D'Orange bottles are pretty standard, except that they've got slightly different artwork on the bottle label. So this is one that some of you may already have tried, because as I say, it isn't brand new, but it is new to me. I think it came out maybe half a year ago or so. It is called Story... Oh, hang on, is it Story of Your Life? Yes, I was about to say Story of My Life. Story of Your Life. And it's composed by one Jérôme Di Marino, a perfumer who has got quite a few successes under his belt. We have got pre-dipped blotter. We have also got some notes that I made with some thoughts about the scent. So here we go. First perfume of the year. First perfume of 2025. Story of Your Life. Vincent says, interested to hear your thoughts on Sana Jardin. Okay, we'll get to that in a sec. Oh yes, I have tried this one already, says Aria. Go on then, you have to tell us what you think of it. So there goes the little vial back. Here we go. Okay. I first smelt this about a week ago when I got the little sample vial, and it's causing the same reaction now that it did then. It's a really, really touching, gentle, tender, almost romantic opening, and I had no idea, and actually I still don't have any idea, what Story of Your Life refers to. I've got their little website blurb that I would like to read in a moment, but I don't know what that's meant to refer to. But of course, a title like that is quite evocative, a name like that is quite evocative, and when you're smelling it, when you've got it in conjunction with a smell, a perfume that is, as I say, quite gentle, quite delicate, quite tender, quite romantic, you're taken off on these flights of fancy about looking back. There is something quite nostalgic about it. What I'm getting in terms of notes, if you would like me to be a bit more specific, there's something musky, peppery, incensey about it, but there's also an injection of something floral, and I kind of want to say that it could be iris, a sort of woody, earthy, slightly powdery iris, but there's also a suggestion of rose. It feels as though it's channeling those kind of floral inflected masculines from the 80s, like, you know, Troisième Homme from Caron. Gavin says the film Arrival was based on it, so could it be that? Do you mean... Gavin says, I googled, there is a sci-fi story called Story of Your Life, and the film Arrival was based on... Okay, well, I'm about to read... I really enjoyed Arrival, by the way. That was Denis Villeneuve, wasn't it, with Amy Adams? Really, really enjoyed that film. I enjoyed it. I know this is probably sacrilegious to say this, but I enjoyed it more than his Dune films. Um, it's very much about the base. There is a but coming because I have also sneakily, well, as I say, I smelt this last week, and so I smelt the blotter as I went along last week, and it does end in a way that is not our kind of favourite way for perfumes to end. But what do they say about it, first of all? Okay. Some of us have known it, others have yet to experience it, but we are all waiting or looking for it. It will come. I often have this strange, penetrating dream. We whisper in the warm, enveloping caramel arms of benzoin and the sweet, ripe fruitiness of Davana. There is a vague but strong hope, nurtured alone on a blanket of yesteryear, when the hope, the dream, becomes reality, when the meeting takes place at last and everything makes sense. This is a home, a haven, a shelter. Words fail us, but our souls speak to each other in complete transparency. All of this kind of heartfelt, quite tender, again, / romantic stuff that is coming through from this prose it is very much in keeping with how I receive the opening. I already know you, we say, from our first morning of buttered bread and orange blossom, savoured in the laurels of yesterday. We saw intoxicated high on rum, infused with vanilla and cocoa, full of that body, the feeling we want to devour. Am I getting these? I mean, I'm not getting buttered bread particularly, but orange blossom, Davana, okay. Vanilla, definitely. Something boozy, rummy, definitely. Cocoa, I suppose so. Dushan says, I thought you were going to talk about Nostos. Now, that's their brand new one, isn't it? I haven't got a single drop of that. I would love to be able to get my hands on that. Anyway, carry on, because I'm intrigued. I want to see where this is going. On the pillow, we leave our signature, the bare skin effect of Orchinox, the undress of Amber Woods. I rest my case. And patchouli. We'll meet again tonight, tomorrow, or in another life. True love is an eternal beginning again. We'll meet again to... hang on. No, they have repeated that. We'll meet again tonight, tomorrow, or in another life. And then it goes on as well about the pillow again. Ooh, this is all a bit meta, isn't it? Very postmodern. Because it's just repeat, repeat, repeat. And then it says, words fail us, which is a little bit ironic. But our souls speak to each other in complete transparency. So it's all just... I wonder if that's the idea, that everything kind of... It ends as it started. Okay, so you kind of go back to the beginning again. That's got to be deliberate. The notes, according to them, are a cistus essence, Davana essence, and benzoin in the top. Then laurel, orange blossom, and a brioche accord. I would love to have a real brioche at the moment. I don't know if I'm getting a brioche accord there. A rum, vanilla infusion, and a vanilla absolute, and amber woods, which is when we turn to the pre-dipped blotter. There we go. Where's my pre-dipped Etat Libre? Yeah. And it's still quite gentle. It's soft. It's cocooning. It's welcoming. But you can feel those ambery woods coming through. This is not, please, 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 believe me when I say this is not an ambery woods overload scent. You have to wait until the real deep stages of the dry down for the ambery woods to make themselves known. So, you know, I wouldn't worry on that front. But the dry down is less interesting than the beginning, than the opening. But the opening, I really appreciate the gentleness of it. And I think that kind of interplay between the orange blossom and the rum and the vanilla is somehow both nostalgic and energizing. It's nicely done. Gentle is the word that keeps coming to mind. What are folks saying here? Dushan says, Amber Woods kills it for me too. Aria says, personally love Fat Electrician and Like This. Oh, I love Like This. I do quite like Fat Electrician, but I love Like This. Gavin says, it sounds like the gourmand fantasy of a middle-class Sunday morning. I've missed you, Gavin. Yes, you're absolutely right. It does sound like that. Maria says, I get the bread notes, but it's super sweet. In the end, this one didn't work on me. Okay. What do you think about the sillage, says Alex? It does project, but not massively so. I mean, it's not a sillage monster. Thomas says, "Oh, the Amber Woods situation in the new Dior Homme Parfum is quite something." Now, I'm really worried about the new Dior Homme Parfum. I was going to say I'm almost too frightened to try it. That's not true. I am too frightened to try it, but I will have to sooner or later. I mean, I was never a massive fan of Dior Homme Parfum. For me, the best Dior Homme was the original, and I really had a lot of time for the Intense that they did as well. The Parfum was sort of, I could take it or leave it. But yes, interesting times at Dior still. Oriana says, any thoughts about the new Dior Homme? Is it as heartbreaking as I've been reading? I don't know. Mitra Kai says, it is not good at all. Oh, that is upsetting. That is upsetting. So let us move on. Let's go to the new one, the latest one from Jardin. Again, a brand that I've only mentioned fleetingly on this channel in the past, but they've been doing interesting things, and they try to give back to the communities that they take from. I will let you discover all of that sort of side of their work on their website. They've worked with really interesting perfumers. A lot of their scents were made by Carlos Benaim. I haven't been able to find out who made this one. Perhaps it is Carlos Benaim, but I don't know that for a fact. They recently had a little bit of a revamp. Anyway, this is their new one, and it's called Air of Aquarius. Now, I don't know exactly when it came out. I think in one form or another, it's been out for a good few months. But this really, in terms of fairly sort of basic standard perfume marketing, this is very much a summery scent, because it's an invigorating, zesty, energetic, heavy on the lemon cologne. So it kind of feels odd talking about it now, a day before Blue Monday. It is Blue Monday tomorrow, isn't it? Isn't it officially Blue Monday tomorrow? But there we are. Maybe something to earmark for when the warmer months come along. As far as bracing, zesty, invigorating, energizing citruses go, I think this one is really well done. One of the best ones of last year. We seem to be going through a run of getting quite a few good colognes. I liked the Roger & Gallet Cologne Twist. I liked the Celine Cologne Celeste from 2023. This one, the Saint Jardin, really goes in heavy with the lemon. And that's always interesting, because lemon can come across as quite functional, like a sort of cleaning product, but they managed to avoid that trap here somehow. But, to my ships, says Jeff. Yes, of course, absolutely. I mean, I adored that. I included that on my list of the top 10 of the year, didn't I? Although that's much more than just a kind of citrusy cologne. There are lots and lots of other things going on in that polygonum fragrance. Here, you are getting mostly citrus, but lots of herbs as well, the usual kind of rosemary and thyme. I suppose the one thing we can say about this one, as a sort of criticism, is that it doesn't really reinvent the wheel. But it does what it does very well. We can go to the website blurb about it. They say, Air of Aquarius features uplifting lemon, known for its high vibration and healing qualities. Yes, this brand does kind of go in for that kind of shtick as well sometimes, and we don't have a huge amount of time for that sort of thing here on Persolaise.com. I was going to say, why am I saying Persolaise.com on the Persolaise YouTube channel? But anyway, blended with rosemary and lavender, which come across very clearly, this aromatic scent purifies the spirit and promotes deep meditation. For me, actually, it promotes the very opposite of deep meditation. It promotes, I'm going to put my running shoes on and go for a bit of a jog. But that can be meditative too. So I suppose everybody takes their meditation or experiences meditation in different ways. What are you folks saying? Perfumed by the Sea says, really struggled to enjoy anything from Saint Jardin's discovery. Had to give half of the samples away. Okay, that's a shame, but thanks for letting us know. I like Tiger by Her Side. That's still my favourite from theirs. A very classic amber, but extremely well done, I think. I do enjoy that one. Aria says, agree, I stay away from lemon and lime in my perfumes because of that chemical association. Give me bergamot and mandarin, please. okay, but I think there is a place for lemon, and I think particularly there is a place for lime. Mitra Kai says, I love celestial patchouli. Okay, there you go. Jeff says, were they always into that shtick? Good question. I can't remember. I think they always were quite serious about sustainability, impact on the environment, social impact, etc. But if they were into the vibration thing, I don't know. Let's go to pre-sprayed, pre-dipped. No, pre-sprayed in this case. Where is it? Pre-sprayed Aquarius. Here we are. Okay. By the way, geeks amongst you, and of course I count myself as a geek as well, this was sprayed about 2-3 hours ago. Ooh, Dushan, thank you very much. Very, very kind. The only creme de la creme is Dior Homme Silver Stem. I agree. But you can also give the chance to Dior Homme Intense. No, I like Dior Homme Intense as well. But yes, absolutely. The one to find is the Silver Stem. And thank goodness I still have quite a full bottle of that I think I got from my mum. I'm pretty sure I got it from my mum. Anyway, pre-sprayed Sana Jardin. Really, really convincing cologne dry down. Nicely done lavender, nicely done rosemary. This is a summery walk through a herb field. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, all of those cliches. But it is there. There's nothing fake about it. There's nothing ersatz about it. There's nothing unconvincing about it. It does what it does extremely well. The trouble with scents like this is how on earth are they going to get their head above the parapet and stand out in some way? How on earth are they going to get people to spend their money on this well-done citrus cologne as opposed to the other well-done citrus cologne? And probably the one with the bigger marketing campaign is the one that's going to get people spending money. I don't know how brands manage that issue, that problem in today's environment. We were talking about Etat Libre D'Orange a few minutes ago. I'm sure one of the reasons they are still around and they still have a following is because they emerged with a bang, and as you know, one of their first scents was Sécrétion Magnifique, which was instantly, immediately controversial, instantly, immediately noticeable and discussion worthy. And that gave them a lot of mileage, I think. I'm not sure Sana Jardin have had that standout scent yet, the one that you associate them with. Jouissance, a brand that we first talked about a few months ago, their La Bague d'Eau is just this instant standout. It's the one that instantly provokes a reaction. You tell people about it, you talk to people about it, and I think brands need to have that. But still, this is very well done. Jeff says, oh, by the way, just smelled the new Colonia Il Profumo from Acqua di Parma. Hated it with my entire heart. Oh, no. I've got my sample, but I'm not talking about it today. I haven't unsealed it. I haven't smelt it. Why did you hate it? You hated it with all your heart. I mean, that's quite hateful, isn't it? Anyway, where's the one that I just did of the... Okay, here we go. I haven't labelled this second blotter properly. Let's now do 2 more for which I don't have full bottles. These are both from a brand that, again, a brand that I think came out with quite a splash, but we don't seem to be talking about very much anymore lately. It's Parle-moi de Parfum, the brand that was set up by Michel Almarac and his sons Benjamin and... That's really bad, I've forgotten. Is it Romain? Really, really good stuff in their opening salvo of perfumes. Well worth getting their discovery set, I would say. Michel Almarac revisited some of his older perfumes, so he kind of revisited Fahrenheit. He absolutely, most definitely revisited his Gucci Pour Homme. But I think because they've struggled to get a foothold in the UK, they've kind of gone off my radar a little bit. I did enjoy their Wake Up World from... what was it, 2 years ago? That was Michel Almarac revisiting his Paloma Picasso Minotaur, which I wore to death back in the day. These are, one is quite new and one is a little bit not so new. So let's start with the one that's not so new. This is called Comete Paradis. So Paradise Comet or Comet of Paradise? I don't know how exactly would that be translated. Let's label this here. I have really cornered myself in this setup because what I've tried to do is move the mic as far away from the computer as possible, because apparently the computer fan noise was bugging some people. But of course it means that I can hardly move. I feel like a Dalek here on this sort of swivel chair. So I'll probably get like a terrible cramp in my legs live on YouTube. That'll be my claim to controversy. So this is Comete Paradis, credited to Michel Almerac. Who is perfuming Acqua di Parmas, says Bozoc. I don't know. For a while I think we were supposed to think that it was François Demachy, but I'm not sure they all were François Demachy. And now that he's retired and moved on from Dior, I think it's different perfumers doing them. So I don't know, but I will try to find out. Anyway, Parle-moi de Parfum, Comete Paradis from a few months ago. Here we go. Okay, so clearly to Michel Almerac and his sons, a comet and comet dust and the whiteness of a comet, if indeed a comet is white, but basically this idea of, a celestial body going through the night sky, all of that, I think for them, in an olfactory sense, they have decided to translate as coconut, which kind of makes sense, but it means that you have to like coconut notes. I think coconut notes are hard. In fact, there aren't really very many coconut perfumes that I can think of that do the note well. I seem to remember the original Bronze Goddess from Estee Lauder actually did it extremely well. I think maybe because they decided to have fun with it and not to be too serious about it. You can kind of see rationally, sort of intellectually, why you might decide to choose coconut or the white fleshiness of a coconut to present an olfactory interpretation of a comet. Oh God, I detest coconut in perfumery, says Alex. Yeah, coconut is hard. Now, having said all of that, this is not a coconut that makes me cringe, because most coconut really has that immediate kind of punch in the gut, sort of, oof, get that away from me right now type effect. It doesn't do that. And I think maybe it's because they decided to make it quite woody, but it is sweet. Coconut notes quite often, perfume people who know more about this side of things, the ingredient side of things, please feel free to correct me, but there is one of the aldehydes has a very kind of marked coconutty note, and it's extremely powerful, really, really tenacious, really, really diffusive. So I'd imagine that it is that that's been used here. You put a few drops into a composition and it just pretty much kills everything else. Jeff says, is it better than vanilla powder from Matière Première? Oh, yes. But I really, really, really couldn't get on with vanilla powder. So many people love that perfume. I don't get it. No, this is smoother, more convincing, and it's got a kind of biscuity feel to it. Maybe because coconut so often for us has associations with suntan lotion. What do they say about it? I will tell you in a moment. So they say, not very much as from what I can see at the moment. Come on, website, do your thing. Oh gosh, it's all going pear-shaped now. Why can I not get the information? What's happened here? Right, we are getting there. I haven't got any information for the second one that I'm about to tell you about. Okay, for some reason this was working fine before, but it isn't working now, so I think we will just abandon ship. I don't know whether something's gone a little bit dysfunctional. No. Okay, let's just bear with me while we try something else. Vanilla powder was awful, says Miranda, and I love Aurélien. Yeah, genuinely genuine. A lot of people not only think, it's their favourite, say it's their favourite from that brand, but they really think is one of the best perfumes they've tried in recent years. Okay, let's try this instead. So apparently it's got a cocoa note, lots and lots of musk in it, huge dose of musks, sandalwood and tonka bean. So as that description tells you, it is very much about the base. I'm not a massive fan of it. It's not as nuanced, nowhere near as nuanced as the brand's best perfumes. It's nowhere near as kind of compelling or interesting. Actually, on that note, we should try smelling the pre-dipped, I should say. There we go. There's the pre-dipped Comete. Jeff says, Almerac seems to do well with that lactonic, cosy, warm, edible feeling. Lactonic is a good word in relation to this one as well. Thomas says, I can't get on with Matière Première in general. Perhaps I should revisit them. Anyway, so this is pre-dipped Comete Paradis. It's very, very linear. And I suppose, if anything, it's become a little bit less kind of biscuity and a little bit more musky. But it's not especially interesting. And I also and I suppose the Paradise, is the Paradise meant to be a kind of tropical island? Is it a sort of juxtaposition between gazing up at the stars when you're lying on a tropical beach? You do get those sorts of images from this, I should say. But it's not one of the brand's best. The next one is a bit more interesting, but this is bizarrely not even on their own website yet, and I don't know whether that's because it's going to be, whether that means that it's exclusive to some outlets before it goes onto their website. Bit of an unusual, slightly odd name, because it's called Blossoms Smoke. So not Blossom Smoke, but Blossoms Smoke, which is odd. Ooh, who's this saying? AT says, I love the coconut note in Lorenzo Pazzaglia's Carbonara. Is there really a perfume called Carbonara? Because if there is, I need to smell it. Eric says, Almerac did Gucci Rush. Yes, he did. Still a favourite in this house for lactonic florals. I don't blame you. Rush is an absolute classic. I also liked, what was the other one that he did? Well, the original Bottega Veneta, right? And I like some of the Armani Privés that he did. Anyway, this is Blossoms Smoke. Now, some sources credit this to Michel Almerac, but some credit it to his son, not Benjamin, the one whose name I'm not sure of, whether it's Romain. Please, somebody look it up so I can actually give him due credit. But I don't know exactly who the perfumer is. I didn't know blossoms can smoke, says Thomas. Well, maybe blossoms can be smoke. It's perfume, right? Imagine blossoms that are smoky and that are on fire. Anyway, Blossoms Smoke. Okay. This is... It tells you straight away what it's going to be about, because it's basically going to be about vetiver. But it is an interesting take on vetiver. It's almost like a sort of, okay, let's do quite a classic vetiver. Let's do a vetiver for people who might enjoy wearing, the sort of suave, sophisticated Guerlain vetiver, but let's try and present it in an interesting way, and let's almost kind of turn the structure upside down a little bit and bring in the florals after the initial vetiver opening. So in that sense, it makes me think of Guerlain's long discontinued, much missed vetiver pour elle. Do you remember when they did that one? Because they had the masculine vetiver for years and years and years. And then I think in the 90s they did vetiver pour elle, which was really, really interesting because it kind of cleaned up the vetiver and brought in a floral element to it. It was really well done, really, really nicely done. This kind of has that sort of feel. It's very cedary as well. I should imagine there is a very, very generous dose of isoe super here, and I think that's something that maybe just makes it veer towards the simplistic, perhaps a tiny little bit too much. But it is worth sampling. Doing something new with vetiver is so hard. So many gems are already out there. I couldn't agree with you more, Thomas. All I've got for this one is just a list of notes. For whatever reason, they're classifying it as a gourmand floral. Okay, maybe that's because they're saying it contains tonka bean and vanilla, but there are lots and lots of perfumes out there that contain a tonka note and a vanilla note and are not particularly gourmand. But I can't tell you much more about it. To me, it is like a vetiver that has been shot through with tons and tons of the kind of cleanliness of Isoe Super stroke cedar and some gently rosy notes, which I guess, on paper aligns it with Terre d'Hermès, but I guess the point of difference with Terre is that Terre also has a very, very marked citrus grapefruity note at the top, doesn't it? Whereas this goes in for the citruses. It's nicely done without being particularly remarkable, particularly noteworthy, particularly interesting. Anna says, I think his name is Romain Almarac. Yeah, I thought it was Romain as well. Thank you very much for that. Let's take a sniff of the pre-dipped blotter for this one. So here is Blossoms Smoke. Alex says, I followed your recommendation and ordered Vetiver Parfum by Guerlain for my birthday. Can't wait to try it. Oh, happy birthday or happy belated birthday. I do like that Vetiver. I wore Abbey Rouge Parfum again the other day on somebody's recommendation, and it still doesn't do it for me. I think it becomes really, really too heavy-handed towards the end and just a bit gross in the, not gross in the sense of disgusting, but gross in the sense of large. It's sort of oversized, takes up too much space. Anyway, pre-dipped Blossoms Smoke. Yeah, again, very, very linear, like the Comete Paradis. The Vetiver is also notable for what it is not. So it doesn't become swampy, it doesn't become overly stewed, it doesn't become overly sweaty. It remains quite clean, and I suppose that's the thing that's going to appeal to a lot of people. But no, I think we need this brand to do something properly exciting and different, and maybe this is the year when we're going to get a truly remarkable release from them. Jeff Sheen says, Abbey Rouge Parfum was grand and flamboyant, but not in a pleasant, friendly way. I really, really like, and I'm so fortunate I've still got a few drops of it, the Abbey Rouge Extrait that Jean-Paul Guerlain did several years ago. That was beautiful, really, really beautiful. I mean, my main Abbey Rouge love still goes to the EDT. That is the best. But I did really like the Rouge Privé that Delphine Jelk gave us in 2023. Okay, times are pressing. We need to move on. Let's spend a few minutes just very, very quickly talking about the Ffern. Now, I won't go into the ins and outs of how this brand operates. Please watch the video that I did on Ffern a few months ago to find out more about how they work. But basically, you can't just go and buy their perfumes. You have to sign up to a ledger. And then at certain points of the year, when the seasons change, when one season ends and a new one starts, they send you the perfume that they have made for that season. Each perfume is named after a season. So this is winter. Do they call it 20? Yeah, this is winter 2025. So we're going to have a spring 2025. When it arrives, you get a little sample vial of it, which you can spray first and try it, so that if you don't like it, you can send the bottle back and you don't have to pay for it. But I go into all of this in another video. This is winter 2025, composed by Elodie Durand, as many, many of their recent scents have been. And I have referred in the past, I've referred to this brand as the kind of what Jo Malone London should be, in the sense of very naturalistic. They are. I think they call them all natural, don't they? But very naturalistic, very light, very undemanding in inverted commas sorts of scents. The Jo Malone, to my mind, most of the time don't do very well, but Ffern invariably do them well, and Winter 25 is no exception. This is nicely done. Hello from the Philippines, says Anton. You are very, very welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Eric says, I've been getting ads for Ffern. I would try them, but this system is too confusing to trouble with. It is fussy, it is tricksy, it is pernickety. But I think a lot of people love it. They've sort of kind of worked out, haven't they, that if you do 2 sprays of the perfume every day, then it will last you for that season, and then you'll get the new one. Anyway, winter 2025. Just really nicely done herbal citrus again. But interesting to compare it with the Jardin, because that one The Sana Jardin, the area of Aquarius, has sort of got more vim. It's much more effervescent. It's much more energetic. The Ffern is a little bit calmer. It's a little bit quieter. It's almost like maybe curling up with a good book and a glass or a cup of some kind of hot, herbal, spicy, citrusy drink. It's giving that sort of citrus feel. And it is extremely naturalistic, very, very convincingly naturalistic. Another thing that they do is that they always commission an artwork to go with each perfume. So this is the artwork for Winter 2025. I should actually say who it's by, and if the artist hasn't been credited here, then I'm really, really sorry. I'm having a quick look to see if they've mentioned the artist. Oh, there we are. This season we've created... Oh no, sorry, wrong person, wrong artist. Oh, did they not give the artist name here? Or is it Emily Sutton? I think it is Emily Sutton, their Ffern artist for Winter 25. Okay, Emily Sutton. Lots and lots of notes they always give here, but they say that there's a saffron note, a lemon rind note, green mandarin, peppermint, pink peppercorn, bitter orange, key lime, rose de may, eucalyptus, neroli. Okay, everything including the kitchen sink. But what comes across is lemon, saffron, mintiness, orange for sure, rose, and lavender. Lots and lots of a sort of lavendery feel. But what's interesting as well is that it doesn't smell very, very samey like a lot of all natural perfumes. And some other Ffern releases have fallen into that kind of samey trap, but this one doesn't. Where's our pre-sprayed Ffern? Let's pop that on there for a second. Pre-sprayed Winter 2025. Yes, it's a kind of quietly, gently, lemony, vanillic background. Very pleasant. If you're the type of person who is drawn to the aesthetic of Jo Malone London, but maybe you've been disappointed by some of their recent releases, check out Ffern. And Jodie says, Ffern Winter 25 is beautiful on skin. Ah, thank you for the tip. That's good to know. Thank you. Ffern's podcast, says Perfumed by the Sea, the podcast is called As the Season Turns, is a nice relaxing listen. Thank you for that tip. Had a sample of, I think, last year's Winter 24. Still not totally sold on them. Might go to their Soho shop one day. And yes, in the Soho shop, you, I think, can get some of the older ones if they haven't completely sold out. Okay, and that brings us, last but not least, to the latest from a brand that I've become a big fan of, and I know a lot of you are a huge fan of it as well. This is from Puente, Elian Puente's brand. This is his Havana, let me get the year right. This is his Havana 1825. This is going to be one of his limited editions. I checked on his website a couple of hours ago, and it was on his website a few hours ago. Because of the unpredictable availability of certain materials, some of his perfumes he's going to sort of do as limited editions, and some of his perfumes he commits to sort of having them available in not quite such a limited edition. OMG, I ordered Havana, says Mitrakai. Ah, okay, good. Havana, this one is available to pre-order, and I think it will start shipping towards the end of the month. His Chyprelia from last year I loved, as you know, if you watched my best of the year list. That one will kind of come and go. Let's have a sniff of Havana. Elian Puente's style is quite retro-loving, but he also manages to figure out a way of making scents, the perfumes that smell retro without smelling old-fashioned. Mitrakai says, I'm going to interview Eliam on my channel on January 30th. Okay, good. So everybody tune into that channel on January 30th, because I'm sure that will be a good interview. How do you even find these brands, Mr. Persolaise says? Is that Tool? Okay. Well, in different ways. In the case of Puente, I can't remember. I think maybe it was you, as in the collective you. I think you... or was it a case of him I actually can't remember, but it goes in different ways. Sometimes I'll go onto a brand's website and order some samples. I can't remember what happened with Puente. Okay, anyway, Havana 1825. This is an interesting one because I'm not going to sort of lie, and I know Eliam has always said that he appreciates the fact that my reviews are completely honest. This hasn't been an instant love, but it is growing on me, and what it is really, really fascinating. And I mean, this is kind of almost going to sound, I don't know what it's going to sound. Disingenuous is not the word that I'm looking for, but anyway, I kind of like the fact that it's not an instant love, because I don't want Eliam to be constantly making scents that are so retro that they just push all my retro loving buttons and I immediately fall in love with them. This has got the thing that makes me go, ooh, this is interesting, is that even though you get a kind of tobacco note coming through, there's also quite a strange almond kernel, like peach kernel, apricot kernel, hypnotic poison, slightly angry, hissy, synthetic cherry type feel to it, which is interesting. Very, very different from the kind of thing that Eliam has given us in the past, and it's beautifully diffusive and really, really quite distinctive. Very, very striking sort of opening. It absolutely makes you sit up and pay attention. In fact, from the scents we've tried today, it is the one that most instantly, kind of, I think, most arrestingly makes you sit up and pay attention. Oh, Ode Addict, that's very, very kind. Thank you very much. A long time no see. Happy New Year, Mr. P, and a very, very happy New Year to you. That's very kind. Thank you. I like what I'm hearing, says Mitrakai. Hypnotic poison, says Power Connection. It does make me think of hypnotic poison. I hope that's a good thing for me to say. If Eliam is watching, it's more intriguing. It's kind of more mysterious than some of his other ones. I made some notes here, if you can bear to put up with the sound of pages turning. Yes, it's the richness of his florals is always fascinating. Let's go and see what we can find out from his website about it, because I know that he talks on the website about some of the materials that are a little bit unusual in this. Bear with us for a second. So we go to House of Puente and Havana 1825. Havana's golden age, says the website, a time where artistry, music and luxury thrived amidst the rich rhythms of Cuban life. The city was the heartbeat of a refined yet untamed world where the air was filled with the intoxicating scent of tobacco, rum and blooming flowers. Havana 1825 is an ode to a city that danced on the edge of refinement and rebellion, a story told through a blend of warm, enveloping notes, rare Novelli saffron. Now, I had to look this up. Apparently, it's a region of Italy. I didn't know. Melds with exotic rose de may, while aged tobacco absolute, styrax, cedarwood, and vanilla leave a sensual, ambery trail reminiscent of pipe tobacco and fine Cuban cigars. So I don't know how we explain this kind of almondy feel that I'm getting, but as it develops, it becomes really, really enticing, much more interesting. Under rare ingredients, the site says, the use of rare ingredients are what give Havana 1825 its limited status. These exceptional treasures are challenging to procure and are not always available, yet they are what give Havana 1825 its unique qualities and intricate subtleties. And there are three that Eliam has listed here. The rose de may, which he calls an artisan grade rose de may, the saffron extract, and also a burley tobacco absolute. I am definitely going to be taking this on a sort of further test drive, skin drive. Sounds lovely, says Claire. It is interesting. And let us finish by going onto the pre-sprayed blotter for this one. So, pre-sprayed Havana 1825. Yeah, it's become woodier, darker. So maybe the journey that it takes you on is a kind of, day to night in Havana. I watched the film just before the end of the year. I watched Luca Guadagnino's new film, Queer, with Daniel Craig. and the young actor whose name escapes me, quite an unusual sort of name. I enjoy the film very, very much. A lot of it is set in Cuba. Much preferred it to Luca Guadagnino's Challengers, which I just thought was a bit of a sort of entertaining but ultimately fluffy kind of nothing. Drew Starkey, is that right? Is that the young actor's name? They're both very, very good in it, but there is something of the kind of vibrant quality of Cuba that comes across in that film that I think Eliam has captured here. It's definitely one to revisit, to come back to. Probably one of the more challenging releases he's given us so far, but I think that is a good thing. Okay, right. Thank you very much for watching this one. We have got the first video of 2025 out of the way. As I say, we will give YouTube a few minutes to do its thing, and then we will come back with a showcase of a kind of newish brand. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you in a bit. Bye now.